Do you find that you and your partner tend to fight more during difficult times? In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 tips that will help you build a stronger relationship that will pass the test of times. And who doesn't want that? If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure that you do so right now. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video. I help entrepreneurs, influencers, and high performers take their relationships from stale and stagnant to epic success without sacrificing their career goals. So if you want to learn more about this, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Hi, I'm Sayuri. I am a relationship coach, entrepreneur, wife, and mom, and I have made it my life's mission to help create a more caring world, one couple at a time. So now let's get into the content of this video. So my first tip to building a stronger relationship while going through a difficult time is to get on the same page about the season that you're in. I've been married for almost 5 years, and throughout my whole relationship with my husband, we've gone through so many different seasons. We've gone through, when we were engaged, we were going through preparation season. So we were going to premarital retreats, premarital counseling. We read so many marriage books. Like, our focus was, we need to not just prepare for the wedding, but we needed to also prepare for our marriage. After 4 years of being married, we got pregnant, and I remember it was like 2020. I had this business meeting. I had hired like some business consultants, and we were like, yeah, like this is the year that we're gonna go all in into the business. We're gonna have workshops, and we're gonna do live events, and we're gonna do so many things. Like, we had big plans. And then I found out that I was pregnant, and I had a very, very tough first trimester. You know how they say like you get morning sickness? No, I had like all day sickness. Literally, I had to put my business on pause, and like I was not able to do much anything. I literally went from like massive action season to like nurturing season, right? And my husband had to also lean into that season and figure out how can he support me and be there with me during that season. Not too long ago, we moved to a new place. We have a baby. You know, my husband went through like a career shift. I'm also launching a program. So like, it was a difficult season for us. I'm still nursing my daughter. So it was like so many things. We were pulled in so many different directions. So we really had to focus on building the systems, not just in our businesses, but also in our home life. So I think it's important for you to get on the same page, have a conversation with your partner. See, my husband and I, we do something called connection check-ins, and we do them once a week. And it's, this is such an important time for us to get together, to ask each other like, hey, what is ultimately the most important thing for you right now? And then we ask each other, what season do we have to be in order for us to honor that one thing that you have going on? And, my husband values fun and experiences, but he recognizes that right now, during the season of life that we're in, with a 11-month-old baby, there's so many things, transitions that we're going through. Him also building his career, me also building my business. So many things that we're like literally we can stretch ourselves too thin, and then we're not gonna be able to build anything sustainably. So in order for us to be able to do what we're trying to do, we really have to focus. So we recognize right now we are in a season of building foundations, building systems in our home life with our daughter, with navigating through marriage while having our first baby. Like, so many things that we have to focus on. Also focusing on building those systems in our businesses, that we recognize that during this season, we're not gonna prioritize vacation time or going on date nights as much. Like, we're still gonna have our connection times, but we're not going to like do as many social activities as we used to, because during the season right now, this is what we have to honor. It creates a lot of disconnection with one person is trying to be in one season and another person is trying to be another. Like, just recognize that this is not forever. This is a season. Get on the same page, and remember to ask each other those 2 questions. What is ultimately the most important thing for us right now? And what season do we have to be in to honor that season? Tip number 2, prioritize connection time. And when I say connection time, I don't necessarily mean vacation or date night. And here's why. I know it's like, wait, what? But here's why. When we go on a vacation, when we go on a date night, we focus so much on what we're going to do, what we're going to eat, and our partner, it's like the last thing that we focus on. And this is not by intention. It's like we have the best of intentions that this is going to be our quality time, but we end up exploring more the menu, the food, the entertainment, and we don't even get to talk and have the conversation, the important conversations that we need to have in order for us to understand what our partner is going through, what life is like through their lens, and know how to support them. And see, when we're going through a difficult time, it is super important for us to be able to know how to be there for each other and understand that that difficult time, maybe we may be processing it in a different way, and we won't know that until we're actually getting to have the space to hear from our partner, get to ask them those open-ended questions, get to know them, get to know how can we can better support them throughout the week. And so that's why I say prioritize connection time. My husband and I, like I mentioned, we have our connection time once a week, where we get to literally have these conversations. And when we think about it, it's like when we're going through seasons of difficulty, the first thing that tends to go is our quality time. But that ends up hurting us even more, because it's like we realize that when we're going through difficult times, we need each other more than ever. We need to be stronger than ever. We need to be connected. We need to be so in tune to know how to support each other. And our connection time really allows for us to be able to be there for each other and feel like, like, even though we're going through this financial hardship right now, or even though right now we're going through this at work, it's like having you in my life, like that means the world. And my last tip number 3, is be an advocate for your partner's well-being. I know that nowadays everyone is talking about self-care and taking care of yourself and putting the oxygen mask on before you can help someone else. And obviously, like, there's a place and for that, and that's now, and I'm not saying not to take care of yourself, but what I'm saying is that when you are in a relationship, when, like, my husband and I were married, and in our marriage we believe that we're one, and I could be in my little bubble taking care of myself, having my morning routine, taking care of my health, but if my husband is not okay, if he is in pain, if he's going through something, my world is gonna stop and I'm gonna go help him. I remember when my daughter was first born, and they always talk about postpartum, how it's always very hard for the mom, but my husband also went through a transition where, like, for him it was like, it was a career shift. He was feeling like he wasn't succeeding at work the way he wanted to, like, he had all these goals, but he didn't know exactly how to get there. And, like, there were specific things that he was doing, like he was playing on his phone more than normal. He wasn't seeking out his friends. He wasn't playing basketball because obviously we were going through a pandemic and we had a newborn. So, like, there were specific things that were setting him up for failure. And I know that, like, I could tell, like, okay, he's listening to this music, he's playing video games more than he's used to, like, he's no longer having quality time with his guy friends, like his friends from church, like specific things that I like. If he continues on this path, it's not gonna end good. And I remember I had to have a conversation with him, and I was like, I'm noticing this pattern, like, what's going on? Let's have a conversation. And, like, in that moment, it didn't come from a place of judgment, but it came from a place of being curious and wanting to understand, like, what was going on. And from that moment, like, I was going through postpartum, I was having a newborn baby, but I recognized that my husband was not going to be able to be there for me if he was not okay. And sometimes we're going through that situation and he will be the first one to say, like, when you're going through a funk, like, you don't recognize that you're going through a funk and you don't really know what you need, or that you need anybody. Like, every time I would tell him, like, hey, can we have a conversation, it's like, I have nothing to talk about. But it took for me to, like, really take him out of the house, like, let's go, let's change environments. We took our baby in the stroller, and we had such a good time together. But, like, it took for us to be able to have that conversation, for him to know, like, I'm here for you, for him to know, like, even though I'm going through postpartum and, like, I just had a baby like 2 weeks ago, when you're in a relationship, you have to be an advocate for each other's well-being. And I think we have to be very intuitive and attentive to each other's patterns. Like, pay attention, like, when is your partner at their best, and take note of that. What do they need for them to laugh, for them to smile, for them to be in a good mood? Pay attention to that. But also pay attention to What are those things? What are those conversations that they're having? What are the things that they're listening to? What behaviors are they doing, are they having when they're about to go through a negative state, when they're frustrated, when they're overwhelmed, well, when they're no longer want to do something? Like, what are they going through? Pay attention to that. It's kind of like you're becoming each other's scientists, exploring one another, so that way you can quickly recognize and be able to help your partner out. So there you have it, my 3 tips to help you build a stronger relationship while going through a difficult time. So let's recap real quick. Tip number 1, we talked about getting on the same page about the season of life that you are in. Tip number 2, prioritize your connection time. And tip number 3, be an advocate of your partner's well-being. I am super excited to share with you that in the next couple of months, very soon, I'm going to be releasing my new program called the 1 Hour Connection Boost. Make sure that you click the link in the description box so you can join the waitlist. You can be the first to be notified when the doors open to this program, and you will have access to a special bonus. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, make sure that you like it. It really lets me know that you want to see more videos like this. Also, make sure to subscribe and watch the other related videos on this topic. Alright guys, thank you so much for being here. Until next time, bye!